Hi, good morning everyone. Thank you for taking your time to attend this training seminar. Today my presentation will cover on the revised XBRL filing requirements and the BizFin's filing system, which we will be rolling out during October this year. So what is the agenda on my presentation? I'll be covering a few areas. Firstly, I'll be covering the reason why ACRA is implementing XBRL for corporate financial reporting. And at the same time, I'll also be running through with you some of the project milestones for this ACRA XBRL Revamp project. After which, I'll explain in detail what is this revised XBRL filing requirements which we have announced. And I'll also explain in detail what does minimum requirement list, which is a new filing concept which we'll be introducing under the new filing regime. At the same time, I will also be running through with you some examples for some mapping principles which will be providing you as a preparer in knowing how to submit XBRL information to us. Last but not least, there will be a range of supports which ACRA will be making available for companies. So I'll be running through with you also what are these support available for you as a company to transit to the revised filing requirements. So first of all, what is XBRL? It stands for Extensible Business Reporting Language. It is actually an IT language which is globally becoming a standard for businesses to share financial information. Also at the same time for reporting financial information to the government agencies. And how it essentially works is it provides an identifying tag for every piece of financial data being submitted. Essentially it works like a barcode, I've been giving an example like when you go to a supermarket and buy an item, upon scanning the barcode, the cashier will know immediately what is the item that you want to buy and what's the amount of money that you have to pay for it. So similarly, this XBRL language allows your IT system to be able to read financial information more easily as compared to the current PDF financial statements. So with all these identifying tags, information can be more easily extracted and analyzed in a standardized manner. And for example, let's say if you were to do a revenue profile analysis across several companies, right now you have to go into individual sets of PDF financial statements to extract out the information. The process can very often be very time consuming and tedious also. So in contrast, when you use XBRL data, which is already submitted to ACRA within our database in the standardized format, you can perform the analysis for this revenue across many different companies very, very easily because the data can be extracted in a machine-readable format. So essentially, this is how a typical XBRL language will look like. It may look very complicated, but essentially it is a means for to communicate financial data in a machine-readable format. And how the machine will understand this chunk of XBRL data here is in this manner. Because if you examine the codes properly, they are actually identifying tags being attached to every piece of value submitted within your financial statements. And so, because of all these identifying tags, the machine will be able to identify, for example, this 100,000 actually pertains to the amount of inventory held by the company as of the year end. So it is with all this, the ability of XBRL to unlock the value of financial information that actually gives benefit to the data consumers and the businesses. And with this ability to extract information more easily, there are actually unlimited possibility how XBRL can bring benefit to you. One of the examples is because data is more easily available and extractable, as a company, you can do trend analysis of your financial performance over the years more easily. And at the same time, you also be able to benchmark your own performance against peer company and against the industry. Deriving the industry medium previously under using PDF financial statement last time is very tedious because you have to go through the financial information for all the companies within the industry. But with the use of XBRL, such financial industry medium can be derived much, much easier. At the same time, this screen actually shows a screenshot from one of the local XBRL analytical tool, the Singapore Financials Direct. And it actually allows the user to be able to perform criteria-based search in such a way that you can actually sieve through the entire XBRL records and sieve out the company based on a certain set of criteria. So let's say if you were the investor who wish to put the money in a certain company of a specific size from a specific industry, this function will allow you to do so. Actually, this is an illustration of a very powerful application of having standardized data at your fingertips, because you can actually sieve through records a lot more easier. So because of all these applications, some of these applications which I've shared earlier, the benefit of XBRL can benefit a large group of stakeholders. It ranges from company directors to accountants, and also at the same time you will also benefit investors and financial analysts, to auditors, government agencies, and academia. So it is with all these benefits that in mind that ACRA has embarked on implementing XBRL in 2007, which we rolled out two filing options for companies to submit XBRL financial statements to us. The option A, which is the full XBRL option, and option B, the partial XBRL option. So ever since we have implemented XBRL in 2007, it has been 5 years. So ACRA has embarked on a Revamp project early last year to look into the next phase of our XBRL implementation to improve the implementation. So we begin the project with a needs requirement studies in which we engage different groups of stakeholders, such as the preparers and the data consumers, to ask them for feedback on what they wish to see in the next phase of the XBRL implementation. So with all the feedback that is gathered from the different stakeholders, we went out to the public through a public consultation with a draft set of the revised XBRL following requirements. And this public consultation was held during May last year, in which we also published the response to the feedback that was gathered during November. After having looking at the first stage of the project, which is the following requirements, we move on to the next stage, which is looking at designing a preparation tool for companies to submit XBRL financial statements to us. In particular, early this year, we held focus group testing, and we actually allowed them to test using one of the draft version of the preparation tool, so that they can give us feedback on how to make the tool more user-friendly. So in particular, some of the stakeholder groups that have participated in this focus group testing includes the accounting firms, the companies, the corporate secretaries, as well as the trainers. At the same time, we also have went out with another public consultation, but this time around it is on gathering feedback from the public on how to make the preparation tool more user-friendly. This public consultation was held during March this year as well. So with all the feedbacks that was gathered for both the following requirements and the preparation tool, ACRA announced the finalized following requirements during June this year, just a few months ago. At the same time, we also released a beta version of the preparation tool during June with the objective of allowing companies to familiarize themselves with the prep tool and the following requirements. During August last month, ACRA has also released another updated version of the preparation tool. But this time around, the preparation tool will be the version which is suitable for preparation. Let's say if you want to prepare XBRL file in preparation when we are implementing the finalized following requirements, you can use this August version for preparation. The implementation of the revised following requirement is currently scheduled to be on the 22nd October. And at the same time, alongside with the following requirements, we will be launching a new BizFinx portal for companies to submit their financial statements to us in XBRL format. So this BizFinx portal will effectively replace the current FS Manager as the mode of submission to us. And FS Manager will be phased out on the 20th of October. And at the same time, during October, we will also be releasing an updated version of the preparation tool, which comes with bug fixes and feature enhancements. So throughout this project, the main design principles that we held in mind is to balance the needs of both the data consumer and the financial statements preparer. On the one hand, the consumer would like as much data to be made possible in XBRL format because that actually facilitates their analysis. But on the other hand, we would not want to, so many data to be collected in XBRL to a point it creates a burden for the preparers. And so we have bear this balance in mind. And it is with this design principle that we come up with these revised following requirements. The revised following requirements states that all Singapore incorporated company, unless you are exempted, which are unlimited or limited by share, will be required to file a full set of financial statements in XBRL according to a minimum requirement list. I will go on to explain what does this minimum requirement list. So essentially, it means that with the full XBRL being implemented for all Singaporean corporate company, the current filing option of option B under the FS Manager will be removed. And this will also be applicable as long as you are filing financial statements to us with period ending on or after 30th April 2007. So these slides will provide in detail what is the filing requirements depending on the type of companies which you are applicable to. So the first row is the public company. If you are a public company and a private company, you will be required to file a full set of financial statements to us, this row. There are certain groups of companies which are exempted. For example, let's say if you are a company that belongs to commercial banks, merchant banks, registered insurer, and a finance company regulated by MAS, because this group of company actually currently has specific reporting requirements within their financial statements. So instead of filing full XBRL, they only be required to file financial statements highlights in XBRL format with a PDF copy of the financial statements. And at the same time, if your company is required by law to prepare your accounts in accordance to an accounting standards other than SFRS, IFRS, and SFRS is a small entity, you also be required to file financial statements highlights instead with a PDF copy of your financial statements. If your company is a sovereign EPCs, right now this current XBRL filing will continue to be exempt, will continue not to be applicable for your company because your company will not be required to file financial statements with ACRA in the first place. But ACRA will be providing you the option to file to us, which is you are encouraged to file a full set of financial statements to us, or you can file financial statements highlight in XBRL to us. If you are sovereign EPCs, ACRA will also be giving you the option to file full set of financial statements with us, or financial statements highlight with a PDF copy of your financial statements. The XBRL financial requirements, the XBRL filing requirements does not apply to companies limited by guarantee and the foreign companies and their local branches. So as such, for these two groups of company, the companies limited by guarantee and the foreign companies, they will only be required to file a PDF copy of their financial statements to us. Currently, there are around 60,000 companies filing XBRL annually to us. And based on the analysis of the filing cycle, most companies will only need to file full XBRL financial statements in 2014. So for you as a preparer, what are some of the changes that you should be expecting for yourself when you're preparing XBRL as compared to the current FS Manager regime? There are three major changes which you may need to take note. So currently, under the FS Manager regime, we allow companies to make use of user-described fields for them to key in line items which are not, which cannot be assigned to our taxonomy. So going forward, under the new filing regime, We will instead provide you a more expanded version of the taxonomy items for you to assign or map the line items within your financial statements to. But if you cannot, if there are still certain line items which cannot be mapped, you should map them to others items instead, such as the other assets, other liabilities. The second area of major change which you should be expecting is that as a preparer, you will be submitting information within up to 11 disclosure notes where it's applicable. ACRA has chosen 11 of these disclosure notes because this will help capture more in-depth information for consumer or financial statements. So previously, this submission of disclosure notes is not required under the FS Manager. At the same time, other than for option B filers in particular, currently you are giving a PDF copy of your financial statements to us. In the new filing regime, you'll only be submitting a full set of financial statements in textual format to us. So I'll go on to explain what does this submitting full set of financial statement in textual format in my later slides. So this slide actually explains what do you mean by a minimum requirement list, which is the following concept which I explained earlier. It states that the information within the list must be found in XBRL to us if the information is available in your AGM financial statements. So basically it means that if this piece of information required within the list is present within your financial statements, you will need to provide to us. If you have something extra within your financial statements on top of what is required in the list, you will not be required to provide to us. And in basic sense, this minimum requirement list consists of two categories of fields. One is the text block field, which allows you to submit the contents within your entire set of financial statements in textual format for submission to us. And other than this text block field, there is also a detailed information which you need to submit specific information within the individual sections of your financial statements to us. So which are the sections which are selected for you to provide detailed information to us? So these slides will actually give you an outline. So there, you will need to give us detailed information within the statement by directors. So basically there will be yes/no questions to ask you whether, for example, in the director's opinion, the financial statements is drawn in a true and fair view. And you also be required to give us your date of statement by directors. At the same time, auditor's report will be one of them, which you need to provide us the audit opinion of the company, and at the same time, the date of the signing off of the audit report. There will also be detailed information which you need to provide within the primary financial statements, like the statement of financial position, the income statement, as well as the statement of cash flow. So for these three primary financial statements, you need to provide the value of the individual line items within these statements to us according to our template. And at the same time, this is the 11th disclosure note which I mentioned earlier, which you need to provide to us if this disclosure notes is present within your financial statements. The 11 disclosure notes which are chosen are corporate and general information, trade and other receivables and payables, provisions, share capital, revenue, government grants, employee benefit expense, operating segments if you have, if you are a listed company and you are disclosing it, the property, plant, equipment, and the selected income and expense. So over the next few slides, I will be giving you some examples, actual examples, so that you can know how to submit your XBRL information to us using the various types of fields. So the first type of field is this text block field, which I mentioned earlier, for you to submit the content within your entire set of financial statements to us. So basically, as a preparer, what you need to do is copy the entire content of your financial statements and paste it within these text block fields for submission to us. So please take note that your entire set of financial statements should include the statutory report, which means that you should include the director's report, the statement by directors, and the auditor's report, as well as the primary financial statements and the disclosure notes. So next, I'll move on to the detailed information fields, which you need to submit information to us for. So as a preparer, you similarly, this is a template which we are requiring for statement by directors. And as a preparer, you need to refer to the similar statement within our financial statements to provide the necessary response to us. So in this case, you'll be answering yes/no question. For example, in this case, you'll be answering whether the director's opinion states that the financial statements are drawn in a true and fair view. And the same goes for whether the company can pay its due debt as and when it falls due, and the date of statement by directors. Next, I'll move on to the detailed information required to be disclosed within the statement of cash flow. And similarly, you will need to refer to your cash flow statement within your financial statements to provide your information to us. So as you can see on the left side of the screen, is actually the minimum requirement list required by ACRA for submission. So what you need to do is to provide information within your cash flow statements if it is required. So in this case, line items such as the net cash flow from operating activities, because it is present within your financial statements, it has to be provided according to what is required in the template. The same goes for the amount of cash used to purchase your PPE. And you will notice that other than those that you can provide value for, there are certain elements within your template which are not applicable because it is not present within your financial statements. So for all these elements which are not applicable, you can simply leave these fields as blank. And at the same time, if you do notice, there are also line items within your cash flow statements, such as the adjustments of the working capital, which are actually not present within the template. Based on the principle of the minimum requirement list, if you have something extra on top of what is required, you will not be required to provide it. So you can simply just leave it out. Next, I'll move on to the minimum requirement list required to be provided for the revenue disclosure notes. And similarly, as a preparer, you need to refer to your revenue disclosure notes if it is present within your financial statements, and to provide the breakdown of your revenue according to what is required within the template. So in this case, the trustee fees and commission income from the company should be categorized and mapped to the revenue from rendering of services for the company according to what the template required. Other fees will go to other revenue, and the total revenue will have to be assigned to total revenue. The last example, I will cover the detailed requirement that you'll be submitting for the operating segment disclosure notes. So should you have these disclosure notes within your financial statements, you'll need to provide it according to the template for submission to us. As you can see here, for this template in particular, we are giving company the option to create your own operating segment, because it is not possible for our taxonomy to cater for exhaustive list of operating segments for all companies. So what you need to do is simply, because we are requiring for the revenue breakdown for the product and services, you need to create the product and services according to what is presented within your financial statements, and to provide the revenue breakdown accordingly. ACRA recognized that there are actually various manners for companies to present their financial statements, and as such, there may be different ways of submitting the same piece of information in XBRL format to us. So as such, we will be providing mapping principle to give you more clearer guidance on submitting XBRL information to us under the various scenarios. So in this case, the print screen here actually is, on the left side of the screen is actually a sample balance sheet that you have for your financial statements. And on the right side of the screen is actually the list of taxonomy elements which you have to map elements from your balance sheet to. So the first mapping principle that we'll be covering is that a line item within your AGM financial statements must be mapped to a relevant concept within the taxonomy if they are equivalent in accounting terms. So referring to the examples which are highlighted in green, you can see that actually because stocks is equivalent to inventory in accounting terms, so you need to map the amount of stocks to what is being disclosed for inventory. And the same thing goes for the fixed asset. Because it's equivalent to property, plant, and equipment, you similarly have to allocate the amount to property, plant, and equipment accordingly. The second rule states that if there are line items within your AGM financial statements that represent subcomponents of a relevant concept within the taxonomy, you will need to aggregate them together. So referring to the example which are highlighted in blue, you can see that the amount due from subsidiary, the amount due from associated companies, and debtors are actually subcomponents that can be categorized to be classified under trade and other receivables current. So in this case, you will need to aggregate them together to be submitted as part of trade and other receivables. And when there are such aggregation, you also have to provide to us a footnote to explain what is being aggregated together. The third rule states that if there are line items within our AGM financial statements which actually represent an aggregation of several concepts within our taxonomy, you will have to provide the breakdown according to what is required within the template. So referring to the example which are highlighted in orange, the intangibles within our balance sheet is actually an aggregation of goodwill and intangible assets within our taxonomy. So in this case, you will have to give us the breakdown according to goodwill and intangible assets. So one of these ways that you can perhaps go into is to look into the disclosure notes, the relevant disclosure notes for this item, and to give us the breakdown accordingly. But we recognize that there are certain cases where it is impractical or the breakdown is not disclosed within the financial statements. So it is not possible to derive the breakdown. We will not require you to give us the breakdown, but we will require you to map the entire amount of the line item to one of the subcomponent line items within the taxonomy based on the best fit principle. So this best fit principle will require you to apply your judgment based on your knowledge of your financial statements. So for example, let's say in your judgment you have judged that these intangible assets, the majority of these intangible assets actually relates to goodwill instead of intangible assets. You should be mapping this entire amount for intangible to your goodwill instead of intangible assets. The last rule is that after you have run through rule 1 to rule 3, and there are still line items which are unlinked against the taxonomy elements, we will require you to map all these unlinked elements to others. So throughout the templates, we will have others item for you to link all these unlinked line items to, such as other current assets, other non-current assets. And when there are certain when there are classifications of this line item to others item, you also have to create a footnote to explain what has been classified under others. So in this case, the example here, long-term assets, after going through rule 1 to rule 3 cannot be categorized anywhere. It shall be mapped to other non-current, non-financial assets. Please note that the application of this, in order to allow you to apply this rule 4, we have catered for others items throughout every template except for 3 of them, which is the statement of cash flow, the selected income and expense, and the employee benefit expense. It is because we did not cater others item within these 3 templates because for these 3 templates, we are not collecting the entire information. Instead, we are only collecting partial informations and like specific line items within your financial statements. So that's why there's no need for you to link the remaining line items using others for submission back to us. So after covering the revised following requirements and the minimum requirement list, I shall now go on to the new BizFin filing system which we will be launching. And so basically this entire preparation to submission process can generally be categorized into 4 stages. The first stage of prepare requires you as a preparer to prepare your XBRL financial statements based on the information that you have in your financial statements. And what you can do simply is you can use one of the preparation tools available, of which the ACRA BizFinx preparation tool is one of them. So upon preparation, this saved XBRL file that you have generated from the tool will have to be uploaded to our BizFinx portal, which will be launching in the coming months. And so upon uploading, there will be a process of validation that you have to go through because we want to ensure that data within your XBRL file is clear of error. So please take note that the entire process of uploading will only be completed when we have verified that your XBRL file is free of error. And after uploading your file, you can now log in into our BizFile system to continue your AR transaction as a preparer. And then once you're in the AR transaction, you can select the files that you have uploaded as an attachment to complete your AR filing. So please note that the entire XBRL filing will only be completed once you file a completed set of annual return. So the next few slides will actually cover some screenshots which you as a preparer should be expecting when we launch our BizFinx portal. So there will be a few for you to fill in your email address so that we can get back to you once your file has been validated, and we can send you the validation result as well. And at the same time, there will be a place where you can select the files which you wish to upload and validate. There will also be a page within our BizFinx portal to give you a summary view of the files which you have submitted for validation and uploading. I would like to emphasize again that only files which are validated as free of error can be uploaded successfully to our BizFinx portal. So ACRA recognized that in the view of the revised filing requirements, there will be some initial effort from the companies in transiting to the new filing regime. So as a result, we will be rolling out a range of support for you so that you can transit better to the new filing requirements. So this support that will be rolling out can be categorized into three main components, which I'll cover later on. BizFinx preparation tool is one of them. In particular, for ACRA, we will be rolling out this offline tool to allow you to submit your XBRL file to us. Because the tool is an offline tool, it actually allows increased flexibility for you as a preparer, because you can also prepare your XBRL file without any need for internet access. At the same time, there will also be features within this tool to allow your preparation to be facilitated. In particular, there will be auto tagging function, which allow the tool to learn some of the mapping that you have done for your line items within your financial statements to the taxonomy. So basically, it will mean that next year when you prepare the same set of XBRL financial statements with the same line items, the tool will learn some of the mappings that you have done, and the mapping can be done automatically. And at the same time, there will also be a drag and drop function to allow you the ability to drag values from your source financial statements to be populated within our template. So this will actually make your preparation easier, because the time used to key in data manually will be reduced. ACRA has rolled out a few versions of the preparation tool. The first version was released as a beta version during June with the objective of giving user more time to familiarize themselves with the filing requirements. But this beta version will still not be suitable for the eventual submission when the filing requirements is implemented. We have rolled out an updated version during August, which the companies preparing using June version will have to download the August version and to import their files again. This August version of the preparation tool will address issues highlighted from focus group and public consultation. And at the same time, you'll also be able to accept files prepared using the June version. Going forward from now, we'll be releasing another version during October, which will contain more enhancements for you as a preparer. So in particular, one of the enhancements that we'll be making is the review copy will be made more user-friendly. The second area of support that we'll be providing company is training, in terms of training. So in particular, ACRA will be holding a series of free training seminars throughout the first year of the revised following requirements. So training seminars like this is actually one of these 3 training seminars, and it will cover topics like the following requirements and how to use BizFin's preparation to prepare financial statements in XBRL format to us. And at the same time, we also, for preparers who, after attending the free training seminars, wish to attend more in-depth training courses, they will also be available, and these courses will provide more hands-on experience with the BizFin's preparation too. When you attend such training courses, ACRA will also be subsidizing your training fees to be paid. So for these training courses, you'll be held regularly every month, and it will be available from July this year. The third area which will be providing assistance to companies is giving companies more time to file their accounts. So in particular for a non-listed company, currently they are required to fulfill a few obligations under the Companies Act, such as they are required to hold their AGM every calendar year, and intervals between each AGM the AGM should not be more than 15 months. And at the same time, they'll also be required to present their accounts not more than 6 months after the year end during each AGM. So these are actually 2 obligations under the Section 175 and 201 of the Companies Act. So in particular, for these 2 obligations, ACRA will be providing assistance in that, let's say if the company is applying a 30 days extension for these 2 obligations, ACRA will not be charging any application fee. Please take note that this application fee waiver will only be applicable for a non-listed company filing full XBRL to us during the first year of implementation. But should your company choose not to rely on the extension of time, we will also be providing assistance to you as a company in that we will not be imposing penalties if your company is filing annual return not more than 30 days after the prescribed period. So giving you an example, let's say if you are a non-listed company with a financial year end of December 2012, you are now required as a non-listed company to hold your AGM and to lay your accounts by June 2013 and to file your annual return by July 2013. So this assistance will mean that ACRA will not be imposing penalties on you if you file your annual return to us in August 2013. However, for these 2 assistance that we are rolling, which is the extension of time and the penalty waiver, we wish to highlight that there is a difference in terms of how the compliance rating will impact for your company. So let's say if your company chooses to rely on the extension of time assistance, we will be providing, the compliance rating will show a tick if the company actually fulfills all its obligation under 175, 197 and 201 within the extended date. But if your company chooses to rely on the penalty waiver, although no penalties will be imposed for your company for the late filing, your compliance rating as a company will still show as a cross because the company has in fact actually breached the 197 compliance. So the reason for imposing a cross is because our compliance rating actually reflects the compliance of a company against the legislation. We recognize that currently there's this group of companies which are using FS Manager to directly prepare their AGM financial statements for submission in Option A format. So for this, to transit this group of companies to the new BizFin's filing system, we are allowing them to request from ACRA a word copy of their Option A financial statements, which can be used as a source document when they want to use it for the BizFin's preparation. If you have such request, you can kindly email to the email as stated in the slide, which will be provided to you a few days later. And at the same time, alongside, there are certain materials which you have to provide to us to authenticate that you are the owner of these financial statements. So other than the help resources that are provided, as I mentioned, there are also other resources, such as we will be providing a helpline for companies and preparers if they have any XBRL-related inquiry. And at the same time, there will also be a preparer's guide to allow you to prepare according to the revised founding requirements. For companies who wish to know exactly what are the elements included within the minimum requirement list, you can also refer to this ACRA Taxonomy template for more information. The business rule which will be validated against your file for our system will also be made available. And at the same time, we'll also be making available a list of synonyms for you to map line items within our financial statements to our taxonomy. For users who wish to know more about the preparation tool, there will be guides available. So in particular, we'll be providing quick guides and user guides and a video guide to showcase the key functions of the preparation tool. As part of the ACRA new BizFinx filing system, one of the key features that we will be making available is to allow companies to experience the value of XBRL. So in particular, we will be providing free data analysis services for companies who has filed full XBRL or financial statements highlight to us. And this service will be available to company officer, like the directors and the company secretary. And it will be available for one-time usage every year, every time you file your annual return to us. So what will this free data analysis service provide you as a company? It will allow your company to perform two forms of analysis. For example, your company will be able to do trend analysis of its financial performance over the year. And at the same time, you'll also be able to benchmark your current year performance against 3 of your peer company performance, and at the same time against the industry median. So the financial ratio which are available for analysis are the revenue growth, the net profit margin, the return on assets, and total assets turnover. So with this, I've come to the end of my presentation. I understand that there may be some questions because the content is a lot. So if you have any questions on my content or my presentation slides, please feel free to approach me or my colleague at the ACRA booth outside the auditorium during the tea break. Thank you very much.